Cape Crusaders, welcome to another edition of Batman, the animated series podcast. I'm your host, Alex Robson, and with me today is one of two special guests for this episode. He's a co-creator and operator of the Watchtower Database, plus the co-host of the very funny podcast Jump on the Batwagon. It's Mr. James Strecker. Say hello, James.
Oh, I don't get to do my hilarious joke where I was, hello, it's me, your brother. I'm here as always. It's me. It's Will. I'm your brother. That's the funny joke I was going to do.
I forgot that my brother is a chimney sweep from 1930s London.
Are your chimneys dirty? This is how you talk, I think, every time. Hi, that was actually a really great intro for me. I've never felt so famous and professional.
You know, I spent a lot of time writing it as well, so I'm glad you noticed it.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Yeah,
all
this
right.
will be fun.
You're a new voice, and tell people at home who don't know who you are, and why you even think you have anything to do with the DCAU.
More than you just did. I mean, I guess that saying words of titles of things I do doesn't necessarily explain what that is. My YouTube channel, Watchtower Database, we do a bunch of, we have over 500 videos now about the DC animated universe that spawned from Batman the Animated Series. I've been watching Batman the Animated Series since I started forming memories, and that's all that my life is. So that being said, he's going to play me a clip later and I'm not going to know what it is.
It's always playing in the background wherever you are, like wherever you go. Batman the Animated Series.
I did put on the episode that we're talking about today on one of my monitors in the background, but at the same time, it might as well always be there. Yeah.
Just follows you around. And then also the podcast that you do with Brian, which is how I came to discover you, was through the podcast first, not through Watchtower, and now subsequently I watch your videos on YouTube. So what is the Jump on the Batwagon about?
Yeah, I was actually really pleasantly surprised to hear you say that before, that was how you found us, and then Watchtower from there. I would say probably 99.9% of the time is the other way around. But yeah, it's Jump on the Batwagon. It's me taking my friend Brian through the entire DCAU, start to finish. He's never seen any of it. We're all the way through Batman now, almost halfway through Superman, which is crazy. To just
that is
think
crazy.
that we're already there. But it's getting into what I consider to be the fun stuff now, because we're having shows overlapping. We're gonna have all this. Brian better not be listening to this, but we're we're gonna be having all of these this movie was supposed to come out a year earlier than it actually did, so it's not going to make any sense when we watch it, but screw you have to watch it like I did. That's the whole point, is we're watching it in the order that everything aired, so that he experiences it the same way that us jackasses little kids had to experience it as it all came out.
In the far gone days of the 1990s.
Yes.
Come on, there we go. Oh yeah, the 1900s. That's right.
I did change it, and then I realized last time I accidentally said 1990s because I'm just
did you?
used to saying it. Yeah. Yeah, it's a lot of fun, Brian, especially since Brian is completely new to all of this. Just what he'll like and not like. I know him pretty well as a person, but I'm always surprised at what he clings on to and what he like. I never would have guessed that Clayface was going to be this big deal to him that he loved, and I also never would have guessed that he would just hate Man-Bat. So we'll never.
I can't forgive him for not liking On Leather Wings.
I think that started as a joke, and he's just perpetuated it. I think if he watched it again, he'd actually like it, but he would never admit it. So.
No, that's true. Maybe what we'll do is when there's an anniversary or something for this podcast, I'll have you both come back on and force him to watch it and like it.
We'll make it a pseudo extra episode of Jump on the Batwagon, sort of, so that it's you have to also listen to this one.
So if anybody is curious of why James is here and Will isn't, Will is actually so swamped with he's buried under a mountain of work and deadlines, and also a Comic-Con that's coming up that he's preparing for. So he's actually going to be gone for 2 weeks. So dang. I think I'm going to kick him out of the podcast, and I'm just going to have a rotating co-host after co-host of guests.
Just have me and the other guests that we'll do soon just here every time instead.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
Fine. I don't have anything else going on, so.
All right, that works. I mean, to be honest with you, if this episode gets twice the amount of listens it normally does, I might consider it.
Sometimes I wish I could see the analytics for other people. Like, it's so hard to tell. Just you can look at YouTube views and whatever, but in terms of like listens on audio platforms, it's really, they don't show like view counts or whatever, so it's almost impossible to know. But I really wish I could compare myself to other ones to see if I should feel good or bad about how Jump on the Batwagon is doing. But
I swear, if they did that, I know that your podcast and my podcast, I'd be constantly checking yours and be like, how did their Eternal Youth do?
right, yeah. The healthy competition, yeah, it's good.
Yeah, healthy competition, yeah, exactly. Well, I've had commenters before mistake me for your podcast where they're like, hey, that clip where you did that funny video with Batman throwing a chair at the window, where's that one? And I'm like, they're not even British.
You brought that up a couple times, and I thought about that when I posted our new one yesterday from the Metallo episode of ours that you guested on. Was like, this is just going to confuse matters even more because now he is in this clip and he's posting it from his page. Yeah,
that was good stuff. I enjoyed that. No, thanks for coming on. What we'll do today is we'll basically just dive straight in to reviewing Eternal Youth. We're going to have a very special guest, which I'm sure everybody knows who that special guest is because it says it in the title.
It's in the thing. Yeah.
Unless he's like, can't make it, sorry, something came up. And then I've said all of this shit for nothing.
And you edit it out, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Do you have to replay the...
No. Don't mind me starting over the episode again. Yeah.
That's going to happen like 6 times in this episode.
It is, yeah. Wait, I haven't... hang on. I can do this. Where is it? There used to be a loop button. Hang on. This is really worth the time.
This is all staying in, by the way.
What the hell? Where is it? Loop. There we go. Okay, anyway.
Yay.
I know how computers work.
Then you don't have to constantly be like looking over your shoulder like, when's that going to end?
Kevin Altieri. I gotta start the episode.
All right, you've just given it away who the guest is. So let's go talk to Kevin Altieri about this episode. Okay, so not only do we have James from the Watchtower Database joining us for our review today, but another special guest as well. We always start off these reviews with a list of creds and fun facts where I usually list and share all the behind-the-scenes info that I could find on the internet, but today we are also joined by someone who will be able to tell us firsthand all about the making of this episode. He was there. He was there. He's been on this show multiple times.
While we were 2 years old in front of the TV, he was making it. Yeah.
It's a pleasure to have you on again, Kevin Altieri. Welcome back to the show.
Pleasure to be here.
This episode is called Eternal Youth. Came out on September 23rd, 1992. It's directed by Kevin Altieri, written by Beth Bornstein, and animation by Don Yang. We've got voice actors Kevin Conroy as Batman and Bruce Wayne, Bob Hastings as Commissioner Gordon, Efren Zimbalist Jr. Efren Zimbalist Jr. as Alfred Pennyworth, Julie Brown as Lily, Lynn Marie Stewart as Violet, Paddy Edwards as Maggie Page, Diane Pershing as Poison Ivy, and Carmen Zapata as... Well, this is where my first thing that I want to tell you, Kevin, is on IMDb, where I usually get the credits from, the voice actors, it's got Carmen Zapata listed as Judge Maria Vargas, which is not true, because it's not Maria Vargas running up the hill at the beginning. It's a character named Mrs. Thomas.
Right.
And that's
I figured I thought they did name her in the episode. Yeah.
They did, yeah. They dropped that like briefly. But...
IMDb got something wrong.
Yeah, I know it's weird,
so
isn't
shocking.
it? I know.
Yeah.
I'm shocked.
I did think if it was Judge Vargas though, that's twice that she's been promised to go away to like a spa,
I know,
and it's this beautiful thing from a stranger, and suddenly it's a supervillain. Like, She has no luck
Yeah.
with vacations. So Dong Yang animated this episode, and they previously animated the episodes that we reviewed on the show, which were Nothing to Fear, I've Got Batman in My Basement, Two-Face Part 2, The Forgotten, See No Evil, Joker's Favor, and Appointment in Crime Alley. Kevin, you kind of spoke about this before, but your relationship with Dong Yang, were they one of your favorites to use? Or were they someone that was difficult to work with?
It was a crapshoot.
Yeah.
Sometimes, like on Harlequinade, and they did Don Yang was actually a studio that would farm it out to other studios. They were associated, I believe, with TMS too. They sometimes, like, you look at Don Yang would turn in something wonderful like Deep Freeze.
Yeah.
Wonderful animation. I was actually thinking about like the scene where how the robot just dumps when he arrives at Oceana and dumps Victor Freeze out of his chest, and the animation is lovely. They're capable of that, but then they would do episodes like this. Now, this episode, it's Don Yang, but it looks more like Sunrise to me. I believe that this was farmed out to Jade in China.
Right. Okay.
And that's what I believe. I mean, because I look at it and I see some of the sameness, like
the Jade-isms. Yeah.
Yeah, the things that like were Batman. Now, and to be completely fair to Jade, who was doing this work for Sunrise and I believe for Don Yang, they came and visited the studio, the president and translators and stuff. And Jade was going to their limit. They were not equipped. They really wanted into the action. They wanted these jobs bad. I don't believe these jobs paid like any more than other animation studios would have paid, but they really put everything they had into the show. What they had was not a whole lot, compared to other studios. Like there's multiple in this show here, for instance, I called for many multiplane effects and shots.
Yeah.
They don't.
All the tree people.
Yeah, they didn't have. They did what they could with it, but they did not have multiplane camera effects, or they didn't have a multiplane camera. They didn't have the ability to do that.
Gotcha. Okay.
So it's just for instance. Now, saying that, it's not bad. There are things that make me cringe.
Right.
But yeah, so it's like, yeah, it is Don Yang, but I suspect this is Jade in China did the animation.
A couple shots that I've always. Oh, go ahead, Alex. It's your podcast.
I was going to say I've got some quotes here, some facts I wanted to share with you, Kevin, that are apparently from you. Where the first one is, finding the script to this episode mundane, Kevin Altieri found himself needing to restructure it to work the animation. Is that something that you had to do by the sounds of it?
Oh yeah. I mean, I would do it. It actually was almost annoying at one point because Bruce and Eric knew that that's what I would do.
Right.
If I have a problem with the script, and so they would actually give me problem scripts.
Please fix this.
Just knowing, and just knowing that I would do it, without, and it's like it depends on the story editor,
Yeah.
For instance, most of the time when I would do changes, people like Paul Dini would go, "Ooh, that's a good idea," or Alan Burnett, And if they ever, then they would argue their points to me, and it's like, oh, okay, you're right. I'll do it your way.
So I'll continue with acting creds here. All returning characters have been credited previously on this podcast in their first appearances, such as Diane Pershing as Poison Ivy in Pretty Poison, who's been another guest of this podcast as well, so you can go and listen to those episodes, or Ephraim Zimbalist Jr., I said it right that time, as Alfred in The Last Laugh. So go back and listen to those episodes if you're interested in learning more about those voice actors. As far as new creds go, Patty Edwards, who plays Maggie, is also known for playing the secretary in Halloween 3, Anya in Star Trek The Next Generation, Flotsam and Jetsam in The Little Mermaid.
Yeah, there it is.
And Atropos in Hercules, the Disney animated film. And she sadly passed away in 1999 at the age of 68. So not that old, which is a shame. Carmen Zapata, who plays Judge Vargas, apparently, Miss Thomas, will appear as Judge Vargas will appear again in The Strange Secret of Bruce Wayne and I Am the Night, but not in this episode. Now, is she in I Am the Night, James? Do you know this? Because that's what it said on.
Yes, I think it's just. I think she sentences the jazz man in like one scene or something like that. Yeah,
That's it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But she's also Carmen Zapata is known for playing choir nun in Sister Act 1 and 2, and another judge in a movie Point of No Return. And she also passed away in 2014 at the age of 86. So, but more of a better age there. Then we got Julie Brown, who plays Lily. Will also come back to voice the character of Zatanna in future episodes. She's also known for playing Lisa in the Goofy movie and Miss Stoger in the film Clueless.
And I had a big crush on her because she was one of the original MTV, back when MTV was actually showing music videos. And she was the best of the hosts. And she also was, prolific writer, would write songs, I mean, hit songs that were on MTV all the time, and they were just really sexy and fun, comedy, but serious music. And she also wrote and, did Earth Girls Are Easy. And she was in that. Yeah, so here's this girl, and all I'll say is I'm sitting on the couch while this recording is going on, and she's sitting right next to me. And I'm
did you play it cool?
It's not possible for me to play it cool. It was obvious that I was infatuated with her, but she was really sweet, and and between her and Diane, it was one of the this was one of the most fun recordings to go to for me. I don't know. Usually Bruce was there. He may not have been there for this one. I'm not sure because I don't remember. But then again, Diane Pershing and Julie Brown were sitting, next to me on the couch. So I was like, my memory is probably swiped.
Focused on them.
Right.
Yeah. But Bruce Tim could have been talking to you and you're like, I don't remember him being there.
So there were other people in the room. Yeah.
And the thing I love about this episode is Ephraim. Just this is his tour de force, and it's like at last, you get emotion, you get backstory, a bit of backstory, and not like I love the fact that this one, when it opens, Bruce Wayne, again, something that we changed. I worked with Brad Rader on this. He's in there working out at the home gym. There is a life that is there.
Yes.
And I love how Kevin Conroy masterfully, he's sitting there talking in his, on the phone because he's mad. He talks on the phone in his angry.
I won't be having this rainforest. Yeah, all that stuff.
Yeah.
In that great Bruce Wayne voice. And then he's talking to Alfred. And when he's talking directly to Alfred, it's Batman's voice, which is his real voice. And then, hey, Maggie. Maggie knocks on the door and comes in.
Yeah, I mean, Alfred must be so used to it by now, but that must have been so jarring when Bruce first tested it out on him.
I think it's like since he's been raising this kid since he was at least 8. Nothing surprises Alfred. I think he's the one. I'm sure he taught him how to drive.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure like when Bruce went through puberty, Alfred knew because his voice got very deep all of a sudden.
Whoa, that's a man voice.
You're a man now, Master Bruce. Yes. And then finally, the last voice actor here is Lynn Marie Stewart as Violet. She's also known for playing Mother Superior in Pee-wee's Big Adventure, Bobby in American Graffiti, Edith Wiggins in Running Man, and my favorite, is Charlie's mum, Bonnie Kelly, and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I think she's just amazing in that show. She's so good.
Yeah.
She's like made a resurgence for younger generations now. Everyone knows who she is because of Sunny, and she's great. So yeah, I thought that was fun that she's included as well.
I have a quick question about Maggie, if you don't mind. This is the only episode she ever appears in? Was there any plan to bring her back, or any reason why she never came back? That you know of?
Not really.
Yeah.
Not really. I mean, I thought she was a great character, and I like how, I mean, Alfred is uncomfortable with demonstration of emotion and stuff, but clearly they have a relationship. You know, she comes over. Here's Batman with this giant secret that he shares only with Alfred, and and Maggie just is comfortable just walking in, and
she's doing her stand walking most of the time. She's doing that I'm gonna get my steps in.
Yeah, exactly. and that works really, to the strength of this, and she is based on Angela Lansbury.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Didn't know that.
Yeah, and
that's cool.
I think, and I had Mike Gogan, who's a board artist, but such a great character designer. I believe he did Maggie.
Okay.
He designed Maggie.
Yeah, I mean, Alfred seemed like he didn't want to do stuff with her. Like he was looking for ways out whenever she was suggesting stuff. So I was like, Are they together? Or is it like
she wants to be?
They are. Okay, so she's down to get some worth out of that penny, and he's up for it.
Yeah, it's like at the end, once he's they start taking the eternal youth cure and the serum and stuff. It's like he very comfortably kisses her back.
He does,
right,
yeah.
Right.
Comfortable kissing him. So it's not like some horny late life, relation.
The next door neighbor that's always like, why are there planes landing in your backyard? And I had the VHS. I mean, it's back here on the bookshelf. The VHS tape, the Poison Ivy tape that had this episode, and oh my gosh, House and Garden on it. And so I've seen this episode a million times as a kid, and I always thought it was interesting and probably coincidental, but that in the Joel Schumacher Batman and Robin movie, Alfred's sister, I think, was named Margaret also. And then so there's like this weird woman associated with Alfred is named Maggie. Why is that a thing? And then never brought up ever again,
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, Schumacher loved ripping off the DCAU anyway.
He did,
so.
yes.
Oh, well, yeah.
It's,
we've already gone there.
We've gone down that road, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
More behind the scenes facts here. I've also got Kevin Altieri was disappointed in the overseas animators' depiction of Poison Ivy being off model.
Well, yes and no. I mean, that kind of goes back to it's not that she was off model. It was just the animation in general.
Right.
I don't know where they got that from, because that's kind of the one thing they did correctly.
Yeah, I thought she looked pretty good.
No, she's fine. And it's like, and yes, at the beginning, it's supposed to be a horror movie mystery, and I like the fact that in this episode, Poison Ivy is in disguise, and she is smart, and she's a brilliant scientist, and she is an intellectual match, not only physically. And most of the other episodes with Ivy, they don't really exploit the fact that Pamela Isley is a genius.
Mm-hmm.
And in this one, she is a genius. Even the trap that she lays is brilliant,
Yeah.
And she gets exactly the people that she, at the top, who are guilty of the crimes.
I think it's a really fun plot, actually, for Poison Ivy. I mean, already with the episodes that we've already reviewed on this show, whenever you come across the Scarecrow, you kind of get the same sort of story, right? Like
Right.
Batman or someone related to Batman has got fear gassed and they've got to learn how to deal with it whilst also trying to stop the Scarecrow. That seems quite samey. Whereas Poison Ivy, she goes in so many different directions in this show. Like it's not just always I need to steal money because I want to fund my plant research or something. Like she's actively doing different things, which I really enjoy. And this is a really fun idea. I like the idea of like a spa that's basically a place of death, for rich people.
So it's kind of like classic Hitchcock, classic horror, mad scientist horror movie. And I also like the fact that in this one, Batman Bruce Wayne is a detective again. He finds evidence, he figures things out before it's too late. The police would have to go through warrants, search warrants, missing persons, they'd be beating beating the ground trying to find all the evidence and put it together and come up with the final solution. Whereas Batman, of course, just does not get into the Batwing again.
Yeah.
He comes in silently with his paraglider.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or whatever you want to call it. The
bat glider is what I call it, I guess.
Yeah. The bat glider.
Yeah.
It's just a simple way of him getting in, quietly unseen.
What I wondered about that is when he lands, he puts it down, and I thought, how's he going to get that home? Because he obviously jumped off a very high point.
Heart of Steel, where he walked miles and miles with it.
With just dragging it.
It's like, it's just, I mean, that was another thing. It's like, but I was thinking, he knows he doesn't want to get Alfred killed. He doesn't want Maggie to be hurt. So he kind of has to come in silently, secretly. And it doesn't matter. The getting away doesn't matter. It's like he's going to get away with Alfred, with Maggie.
I just thought it'd be funny if there was like 12 bat gliders just kicking around Gotham, because every time he lands, he's like, I can't drag that up another building. Like, I'm not going to do that anymore.
It's just up in that giant tree somewhere at this point. Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Well, he uses it in Heart of Steel, and he actually drags it back to the Batcave.
He does.
Sopping wet.
So more facts here. En route to the spa, Alfred grumbles, "I've been shanghaied," which was a slang expression used in the US and UK for being recruited into the Navy by force or trickery. Was that something? I was wondering if that was some influence of yours, or is that down to the writer?
I think that was in the script.
Right, okay, because I haven't even... That actually reminds me, I haven't credited Beth Bornstein yet, the writer of this episode, who makes her debut, and this is the only episode she wrote for Batman the Animated Series. She's other credits include episodes of He-Man, Masters of the Universe, Transformers, Thundercats, and Tiny Toon Adventures. I mean, it's interesting when you get like a one-time only writer for this show, because I wondered if she brought this idea to the table, or if this was an idea that was created by the producers and then farmed out, and they found her just for one episode. Like, do you know anything about that process?
I don't know. I really don't know about that. Just the script was given to me, and it's as you said before, or we talked about, like, I will change things. The idea and what comes out of the characters' mouths is not a problem. The set pieces were a problem, or like the lack of set pieces, the visual aspect of it. Like the ending, again, I repeat myself. It's like I always have to have some gigantic thing happen, some cataclysmic event to end the cartoon with,
Right.
Hence I just remember, well, here's another thing, a change that I did that didn't happen. The whole thing where Poison Ivy is stalking Batman in the greenhouse, I had her doing it with a longbow.
Ooh, like Robin Hood type stuff.
Yeah. She, cool. But it's like she's like the huntress, more Greek goddess kind of feeling. And and the thing is, you can across her wrist crossbow, you have to reload it, whereas a longbow is just as fast as you can draw, you know.
Yeah.
And she's Poison Ivy, you know, so she's of course, you know, expert at it. So I had her. So all of the arrows that you see hitting were, you know, cloth yard shafts, you know, like big, you know,
Right.
you know, it was all longbow, and it was like I think that was much more impressive. But the board came back and BSNP says you can't do a longbow. You can't do a bow and arrow.
That's so weird, because what's
and I'm
the
like-
difference between that and a
Well,
one on the
they
forearm?
Kids can't get a hold of a
Yeah,
wrist crossbow. Yeah.
Well,
True.
yes, at that time, it's like kids could not get a hold of a wrist crossbow. They don't exist.
Yeah.
They might exist now,
That Spider-Man silly string.
but I couldn't even argue it because, you know, because they went and said, you know, no, it's way too easy for kids to get their hands on a bow and arrow. And I was almost going to argue, and then I flashed back to me at 7 years old, and I'm like, I got my hands on a bow and arrow, and me and my brother stupidly were shooting at shit, you know.
Yeah. Meanwhile, you've got Boy Scout camps throwing tomahawks all over the place.
Or like last time we spoke about the Batman Ninja throwing stars, and how in Feet of Clay Part 2, that's like pretty much the last time you see them. And you said because of obviously BSMP pushback. And I was thinking, that's ridiculous. And then thought, nah, actually, I'd make a ninja star as a kid.
I did.
Tape knives together.
And my mom's like, where's all my cutlery gone?
Why is it shaped like a bat now? What are you doing?
But the whole ending where the enzyme hits the ground, and then everything, you know, that's just me. You know, it's like that wasn't the script. It's like, this is how we end it. You know, I don't even remember what the script originally had.
I was gonna say, if it didn't do that, there's not much of an ending.
It was something else, and I liked it, and I just saw, like, you know, again, very Miyazaki influenced, of course.
Sure.
And I wish that we got Miyazaki animation, but even at that, you know, it's kind of the ending, classic Batman ending where the villainess, you know, she goes, and I love the reading that Diane gives, like, the enzyme. I can't say it the way she does, but she says it almost like
passionate.
It's like a passionate air intake shock.
Yeah,
you know, how do voice actors do that?
I know.
It's crazy. When we interviewed her, we were talking about like when most people inhale. You know, when they're obviously like in front of a microphone, you can hear them go like that and inhale. And I don't know how we got into the conversation, but she said, like, have you heard me do that at all? And I was like, no, I actually haven't. And she said, like, as voice actors, there's a way to train yourself where you can do that and it makes no noise whatsoever. And it just, it instinctively, that's how they breathe. The throat. Now. It's crazy. Yeah, it's wild.
But also, if you go online, you look up Diane Pershing for like some of the early singing. She's like classically trained singer. And just, I mean,
that's probably where that came from. Actually, you're right. Yeah.
Just, I mean, I've only when I was younger, I would sing in choir, you know, church choir and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And they actually, you strangely, you get trained to how
breathing exercises.
Because especially when you're in church and the, you know, the organ's going and stuff, you know, there's like long passages, and when you're like 12 years old, it's like, oh, you know, it's like you can.
Well, James, you're a musician, right?
Like, I was gonna say I'm a brass player, so we do plenty of breathing exercises to the same kind of stuff we're talking about.
Yeah.
So some more facts here. Poison Ivy's henchwoman Lily and Violet are obviously named after plants. We never see them again, and I quite like them as like her little sidekicks.
They're in the Sega CD cutscenes.
Oh, James, that's my next fact, actually.
I really wanted Julie Brown to be around as a hench wench.
Cast her as anything you can.
Yeah, exactly. Commissioner Gordon, why not? Go for
it. She just is like she gets a job at the police headquarters. I don't care, you know.
That's awesome.
And it's like, and they don't get enough lines, and I really wanted to see more of them,
Yeah, and it was interesting at the end of this because when the tree goes up and smashes through the greenhouse, you see all the tree people in it, and you also see Lily and Violet in it as well. But you don't see Poison Ivy, and there's no like stinger at the end where it's like she got away or I'll be back. Yeah, it's just like you're like, is she dead? Or is she?
No, but that's a very classic Batman thing.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, if you remember in the 66 Batman, I remember, and this happened all the time, when the Riddler goes down into this hole. I just remember like this, this hole in the middle of this museum, stamp museum, I think. He's down there, and the bomb ends up going down there. And it's like, look out, old chum, chum. It's like, and bam!
Right.
And is he dead? Is he dead? It's like, well, that's the end of the show. And it's like, do you think we'll see him again?
Perhaps he'll be back as a different actor.
Same thing. Julie Newmar Catwoman disappeared, and of course Catwoman comes back. But it's like, they're shocked. Is this the end of Catwoman? I don't know. Right. So this was kind of that sort of thing where it's like, did she get away or is she dead? That's a big tree. It's going to take a while to find the remains, and they don't find any.
We're finding on the podcast that we host on Watchtower Database, where I'm taking my friend Brian through the whole DCAU for the first time. He's never seen any of it.
How old is he? Like 58 or something like that?
He'll be 40 next month. Yeah. But he somehow he saw like X-Men and stuff as a kid, but never watched any of these. But so we were kind of finding that most Batman episodes will end with, the villain, fell into a thing or look like they blew up, or, all this stuff we're saying. But then they'll be back for something and it's unexplained, but it doesn't need to be explained. Whereas the Superman episodes all tend to end with, you got to get, like you're saying, that stinger on the end of just, here they are, going, I'll get him next time. Here's how I'll come back next time. And that's kind of an interesting difference between having to show that or choosing not to show that or whatever. Yeah.
Well, I think it's the difference between good and bad comics.
All right. As someone who didn't work on Superman, no.
I thought you were going to say good and bad shows for a second.
Comics. No, but it's always like the writers that obsess over what happens. Is just it's not necessarily important.
Active choice of having continuity on purpose or just kind of having stories that will exist with each other. Because Superman was actively setting up the next thing or referring to the last time you saw them, whereas like I don't care that Joker fell into the water where there's a shark. He's just here again. It's fine.
No, and not to slam those, but it's like endings like Avatar, for instance. They're out in the desert. Talia realizes that he's still her father, cuts him loose. They leave Batman in the desert. It's like that has a resolution. So it's obviously there's a place for it.
It's not like in the next episode. It's like he died in the desert. He never made it out.
It's just a skeleton with a cowl on it. Robin, you're up.
Right.
So the finale of this episode was adapted into a stage in the Super Nintendo game, The Adventures of Batman and Robin. James.
There it is. Whoopsie. Hey, that's a different version of the game. So I'm not.
It's a different version of the game. There we go. But I remember that level, I guess you'd call it, stage, which was really cool. And then for a few more here, this is one of the few times Bruce Wayne heads upstairs from the Batcave into Wayne Manor whilst wearing the full bat suit.
Yes.
I believe the first time we see that is another episode of yours, Kevin, which is The Last Laugh, where he runs up and Alfred's in hysterics. So usually it's when Alfred's in trouble and he's like, there's no time to change. I must run up and see how he's doing.
That's exactly that. It says how immediate it is, and even though he's in the Batcave, he is Batman when he's doing the experiments. It's like that's something that when he's in the Batcave, generally he's suited up.
Yeah,
at
yeah,
this point in the
absolutely.
series.
Now I noticed something very, very particular about this scene, and I even took a picture of it. Now I'm obviously English, so clearly, whenever I see anything that looks like our flag, I'm gonna point it out. When Batman runs up into the living room, yeah, and he's standing at the staircase, there's light being projected behind him in the window. There's like a statue, and then there's a big window, and the light looks like the Union Jack. I'm gonna see if you can see that. Oh, it's a bit blurry. There's like it's
Okay.
hard to it's hard to see.
In this
But yeah,
episode, we had that lighting effect,
right.
just because the whole thing is trying to. It starts at the beginning of the show, and we have it in several scenes. But that was pretty much established for this episode, mainly because that's attracting Alfred to go back. It's the sun that is teasing him.
Yeah, it's because it's photosynthesis. That's a hard word for me to say, but it ignites like a plant. From Junior and it's photosynthesis. But yeah,
that was not intentional.
I thought because it's an Alfred-centric episode.
I have to go home, Master Bruce. Goodbye.
It's like instead of the bat signal, it's just the Union Jack light that shines.
Maggie could have had it on her car. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Earlier, I was going to mention that's one of my favorite shots of the whole show is Alfred like waking up and standing on the balcony and the sun rays coming in. Like that's a really impressive effect, regardless of anything else.
Yeah.
And I gave Brad the spa sequences, and where another invention was the pool.
Yeah,
where Alfred is actually relaxing.
Yeah,
and I'm sorry that it's like one of the very few changes to the storyboards that I would make before I would present them, because generally the crew is that I would, especially Brad, Mike Gogan, I would have very few changes before I would present it to Bruce and to powers that be. But I did make Brad make those Speedos bigger.
Oh, were they tinier?
Oh, Alfred. You'll notice Alfred, for an older gentleman, is in quite good shape.
He's in good shape, yeah.
But he had Speedos.
Oh man, if they had the Union Jack on them, that would have just been that would have won it for me. That would have been so good. I would have loved that.
No, we should have had that shot. He's sitting there, and after he looks over and sees Maggie in the mud makeup, and he goes, "Okay, goodbye, Master Bruce," and he hangs up, and then he flips over to get tan on his back, and that's what the Union Jack is.
It's just
a little worn. It's a little creased right there. Yeah, I'll say as a little kid watching that tape over and over again, I remember like I had seen the episode so many times, but somehow I always took that where Alfred like looks over at Maggie, I assume, in the mud bath in the corner to just say like, oh yeah, everything's going fine. Well, so I was always thrown off by that shot, because having seen the episode many times before, I knew where it was going. They're slowly kind of degenerating into tree people essentially. And so I always took that shot as like, oh, something like horrifying is going on to Maggie's like body chemistry in the corner. And Alfred just kind of goes like, yeah, everything's fine, I guess. And just that never gets brought back up. And I was always so confused. Like, how does he not go? No, actually, Batman, something really messed up is happening. Like, but now I obviously understand. But yeah, it was always just so strange. Yeah.
She's like, I'm trying out this Renew You. It's a new thing. Exactly. I don't know if you ever heard of that.
I swallowed a ton of this makeup.
Yeah, I mean, this episode, when I was a kid, I remember the tree people sequence being quite scary, and the thing that scared me the most as a kid is when Poison Ivy says, I remember as a kid hearing her say, the transformation sequence is going to take months of spraying them down. And for me, that was the scariest bit, because as a kid, I'm like, are they awake during all of this inside the shell? And like that transformation sequence is going to take months. That sounds like hell on earth. Like that sounds that's terrifying.
Yeah, no, it's intended. It's like it's a horror movie.
I've told you so many times, Kevin. You fucked my childhood up so much, man.
There you go.
On Leather Wings to
How
start
dare
with,
you, but also thank you. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
You're
This
welcome.
one as well. Yeah.
It was my pleasure.
That is actually all the trivs I have. Is there anything else that springs to mind about this episode before we chat about what you're up to now, Kevin?
I have a quick thing. Was this is going to be really dumb, but do you have any idea? Out of all of the like prop department background artists kind of people, who might have designed, if it even needed a design, the little green cookies that they eat at the the spa? Because that could have just very well been a storyboard thing that was easy enough. You didn't have to actually have like prop number this cookie circle green, whatever.
But it was an important prop, and it's I mean, even though it's like, yes, it's a little cookie. Well, it's either John Fisher or Keith Wiesner or Trish Bergio designed that.
Okay, good to know. They're delicious looking, and I always want to eat them every time I see this episode. They look so refreshing, So
they do look wafery, like they're like a Milano cookie, like a wafer or something. I don't know.
They're like mint or something. They just look so tasty. I don't know how to describe.
Oh,
it.
you went mint. I went green. I went green tea as a flavor. Yeah, maybe a minty green tea.
Wasabi.
Wasabi is extremely spicy. Yeah. Oh no, everything's going on fine here. My nose is running all the time.
Well, Kevin, thanks so much. Before we let you go, is there anything that you can share with what you're up to right now?
Well, at the moment, I'm actually developing a couple of, Batman-related comic stories and art. Yeah, just developing, nothing sold or anything like that. It's, at the moment, the animation industry is going through another one of its rough times, So, I've just been doing that, and I've been doing prints and selling at conventions. I'm going to be back in Kansas City, I think at Planet Con, I think it's called. But I'll be in Kansas City on March 8th, and that weekend, that convention, and then I have a few more conventions lined up. I'm going to be back in New Jersey at the Garden State Comic-Con, which is in Morristown, New Jersey, and I'll be visiting with Jan Duursema and Tom Mandrake and the whole Mandrake clan.
Awesome.
They always go to that convention too, so it's kind of like a Kubert School reunion when you go to that convention.
Yeah.
Right.
Morristown is right next door to Dover and Randolph.
Yeah.
Where a lot of the Kubert alumni have settled, and it's really fun because it's really great to go and hang out, and and the fans at that con are always great. They're great at all. I'm really glad that people really appreciate Batman the Animated Series and other Stripperella and all the stuff that I've worked on.
We appreciated Stripperella, yes, for sure.
Yeah, I worked on a lot.
That fucked my childhood up in a different way.
But yeah, no, it's like, so the conventions are coming up, and so keep your eyes open. I'm not sure. I may be in Tennessee, and some of the conventions that are going to be going on through spring through. Well, March isn't spring, is it? Well, anyway, but spring through summer.
Depends on where you are in the world. It could be. For all I know. I mean, Australia's having their summer right now, so it's crazy.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, but I'll include the link to your Instagram and such down below. So if people wanted to follow you, they could click that link in the description.
I'm sure I'll be in contact with you or Mark or someone soon to get you on our channel too, because it's always nice to kind of break the ice and know like, oh, yes, everyone's just a person, because whenever you see your name on the B-Test credits, your entire life, it's like, I get to talk to, no, I couldn't possibly. And they're just like, oh, he's just a dude, it's fine,
Didn't you gift your co-host, Brian? Didn't you gift him a piece from Kevin?
Ted did, yeah. Ted got myself and Brian signed title cards from you for a Christmas gift, or an anniversary gift or something like that. Yeah. So that was fun. I got the Two-Face one on my wall right there. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Probably from Heroic Fine Arts.
Probably, yes.
Yeah, that's with James Fletcher at Heroic Fine Arts. They show off posters and stuff that I've done and original art,
Yeah.
and I do a lot of signings with them. So if you go to conventions and you want to get, Batman memorabilia, check out Heroic Fine Arts. They always have a great booth, even if I'm not there.
Yeah, they're in spirit. Yeah.
That's who I was going to be in Kansas City with too, by the way. Is with Dan Reba and Alan Burnett.
Nice, perfect,
awesome.
So yeah,
what a crew.
Yeah, that's always a fun time. It's like Dan and me are, we've known each other so long,
right?
Well, Kevin, thank you so much for coming on, man. As always, it's a pleasure. I'm sure when I come to another episode you've directed, I'll probably reach out to you and be like, "You got any fun facts?" And you'll just be like, "No, I'll come on the show." And I'll be like, "All right," because I never want to make you come on. I never want to I never want you to be like, "Oh fuck, I've got to go talk about this episode again for like the 8th time."
I'll interject. Alex messaged me yesterday morning to try to make, solidify the plans for me coming on the podcast here. And he's like, oh, and I asked Kevin if he would be interested in, giving some little tidbits or something. And he's like, oh, I could totally come on. And that was the end of voice message number 1 from Alex. And I just ended it and went, oh, shit. Okay.
Leave him in suspense for a bit.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, it's kind of important that people hear the truth about stuff.
Yeah.
That's kind of the main thing. It's like, yes, it's a lot of fun and stuff, but it started out me wanting to do these things at this point in my life. It's kind of important to me because when I was growing up, I would get these books. And there's, that I loved, Snow White, the making of Snow White and all this, and the art of Walt Disney, in which Walt Disney takes credit for everything.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's just the official, stamp. And so there's a lot of misinformation that's given out by studios and stuff. A lot of it is by ignorance of the people doing the writing,
Yeah.
Right.
And or what they're told.
Alex and I and the DCAU review that you've been on, and all of us are always trying to do our best to keep history straight and get triple check everything. So
absolutely, yeah.
Well, it's especially when people want like your audience. It's like not just this audience, but any audience of animation. There are just going to be those chosen few that want to get into the business, want to get into the industry, want to do this. And the disadvantage that we all have, the people who like to draw this stuff, is that we like to draw this stuff. So you get taken advantage of.
I can hear my brother like shaking his fist at the sky right now and be like, I hear you, Kevin, I hear you.
No, but see that, and Larry Hama said it, it's like we are, unfortunately, like the companies know that we love this. It's so that, you're at a disadvantage, but you have no choice. You got to do it. So just as much real experience that you can let people know about, the better. I think.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
We got to make sure that everyone knows who designed the cookies, and it's not Bruce Timm. Bruce Timm didn't do everything. Okay.
Yeah. Well, not the cookies anyway.
You had a very anti-cookie stance at all times.
Yeah. On that note, Kevin, thank you so much for coming on again.
Yes.
Really appreciate it as always, and we'll be
you're
in
welcome.
touch soon.
Okay.
Yeah, right. Great to meet you. Thank you.
All right, we hope you all enjoyed that chat with Kevin. James, that was a lot of fun to go down and all the facts and hear about all the trivs and the making of this episode. And it's always a pleasure to have Kevin on. But are you ready to review this episode?
Sure, I guess.
You're like, I came for Kevin, and I
don't have eternal youth like some people, so let's get a move on. Let's do this.
What do you think of this episode?
I've always really liked this episode. I'm on Jump on the Batwagon. It was on my top 10 for a long time, if not still there. I don't remember because it's been so long.
It's been so long.
We've been doing this for a while. No, yeah. I mean, like I said, when Kevin was on, if you didn't edit it out, I had this on VHS as a kid on the Poison Ivy tape with House and Garden. So I've seen this episode a ton more than a lot of the BTS episodes, and it's just always like it's really well put together. I would agree that some of the animation's a little bit worse for wear, but that's just compared to episodes that are like astounding animation. So
yeah,
this is definitely not one of the like, oh boy, it's ACOM or whatever. Like there's not that level of like, what am I looking at? I hate watching this at any point. And I think, and there's so many moments that stick with me. The cookies, obviously. The
cookies Batman is a big thing for you, man. Like
it really is. They're so tasty.
We've talked about this off pod where like I know you've always wanted to like do a cooking video.
Yeah, the cooking show. Yeah.
And I'm a chef by trade. I think we gotta do something here. We gotta make
team up on that for sure. Yeah, you're still on my list for that. But yeah, the scene of Batman coming to the staircase and Alfred, all that stuff. The music very like Aladdin-y right there in a good way. Not
yeah, you're right.
Not like in the like stereotypical Agrabah music that they do, but in just the very like fanfare Alan Menken-ness of it all is just really good. And that's throughout the episode too. There's just a lot of positives to this.
There's a lot of good
playing
music
in the background here, and I'm just kind of like occasionally glancing at it and continuing to watch it while we're like, oh yeah, this part. Yeah.
You're like a dog with a toy.
She says here.
Yeah. So to start, like we see at the beginning, the whole spa, and I noticed that the water fountain is making the McDonald's M.
A little bit, yeah.
It's shooting out in two different streams, and it's
the I almost said crimson. The what do you want to call it? Like cerulean arches or something.
I've just called them the golden arches my whole life. I've never heard
green.
It'd be funny if the toxin that they're drinking like it's not even affecting them. It's just Big Macs and full fat Cokes. Like they're just at a really fancy McDonald's,
Yeah. Oh, sorry, our green cookie machine is broken.
It's always
broken. Yeah. Would you fix the corporate green cookie machine? Yeah.
And then
McFlurries. Yeah.
And then wannabe Maria Vargas is like sprinting up that hill so fast. I was like, she should enter a fucking 5K or something. She's like the Flash.
There's
going
a
up that hill
of shots in this episode of people running that are just like really
full on sprint,
really fast running. Yeah, just like yeah.
And then when she's running up the hill, you see Poison Ivy come into frame. And she's just like, it's like she's dragged and dropped in like, I don't know, like paint or something. She just comes, she like drifts into frame. Yeah. And I know that's animating, like taking, shortcuts and stuff, but it is funny just to see come into frame the back of her head. Yeah.
Yeah, sure. The frames aren't necessarily reanimated. She's just kind of moved over. Yeah.
Yeah, and then this episode like deliberately tries to conceal that it's Poison Ivy the entire time, and I'm like, why? Because you know it's her. Like you must, even as a kid, you're like, that's Poison Ivy, and then they have this kind of like dun 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 moment at the end when she's like revealed herself.
Yeah, the commercial break where she walks up and stands there as Poison Ivy, and the music goes boom boom. You're like, oh shit, is it Poison Ivy? I had no idea. Well, but when we were talking to Kevin, I feel like the Hitchcockiness of this episode really shows its hand in that also. And I wanted to ask him if that was purposeful or not, in that, yes, the audience knows that it's obviously Poison Ivy. Like if you've seen this show at all, if you've seen Poison Ivy, you know what she looks like. Just the second her feet even enter frame in the opening scene, you're like, oh, those are Poison Ivy's boots, or just her silhouette on the hill is like, that's Poison Ivy. It's obvious. And then her, dressed as Demeter lady is like, it's Poison Ivy. Am I supposed to not know? Like, it's duh.
But she's doing a Clark Kent the whole time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I think that's almost like a highlight of it makes you uncomfortable that like, why do the people in the episode not know this is Poison Ivy? Like it's kind of like
especially Alfred, who should immediately be like, well, that's Pamela Isley.
Yeah.
Like he even did some investigation in Pretty Poison for Batman,
right? Yeah,
and saw her picture loads. Yeah.
So it just feels like a sort of Bates Motel style, like unsettling nature of like you're kind of. The viewer is sort of aware of what's happening. You know, there might be more to it later, but the characters in the movie aren't, and you're like, come on, like please figure it out. Like you're in danger. Oh God, or the cookies are not good. Please stop eating the cookies.
Put that cookie down now.
Exactly. There's more Batman and Robin connection for you.
Yeah, there's another one. The sound effects of people turning into trees I thought was very good. Like it's very like visceral
sounds.
Yeah. It when I watched it this time, and because of like all the 4K restorations they've done, like the sound as well. Like I've never heard. I haven't seen this episode in a while, and I haven't heard that sound properly with the restoration. And I was sitting there, and I was like, oh my God, that's how did they do that?
Going through it as a kid, watching it on tape, and not having, you can only get so much information onto magnetic strips to put through a VCR. So anytime they have some sort of panning of the sound or kind of an eeriness in the mix that you completely miss, and it'll get just worse and worse the more the tape deteriorates, the more you watch it, because I'm sure that one's pretty
the tape
ruined.
Starts making that sound. You're like, oh, that's not good.
What a cool artistic choice they've made to include VCR tape eating noise.
I, as Kevin said, love Conroy's Bruce Wayne voice on the phone, especially because he's got to be mad as well, so it's interesting hearing his angry voice as Bruce Wayne.
He doesn't get enough credit, Ed, to like how much effort goes into that kind of thing. I mean, I think he does nowadays, but I think back then like he's pretty new to it, so it's just kind of like, oh cool, I guess this is what it is. But
this is his choice, but you don't notice as much. And then, like, do you think that $10 million reward or award Alfred showed Bruce was a scam? I think that was a scam.
It says here you've won $10 million. That's nice.
It's I have to apparently mail a Nigerian prince. Do you know anything about that?
Exactly.
I think Bruce knew, like, it's junk mail, but he feels bad for Alfred. Like, he obviously does. He's old. People get scammed when they're older, so he's like, it's a scam, but I'll let him feel good.
Either Alfred's also in on it and they're both joking, or he's like, whatever, it doesn't matter.
And then you got some like the outfit choices in this episode are so unique because you never see these types of outfits again. You get Bruce in his little exercise, like blue shorts and gray tank top.
His strongman outfit,
His strongman outfit, it definitely looks like
he says as he jumps on each other's shoulders.
It's crazy to have a big mustache that went out.
Rides a big bike,
And then Alfred's outfit choices, like his purple swimming trunks, I thought were really unique. Like, why purple?
You're seeing Alfred in like 6 different outfits in this episode. He's in like his like sweatsuit and all this stuff.
It looks like a Russian drug dealer in that sweatsuit. Like he's about to fucking like sell you a bag. This Demeter is very good.
It says here you've just won $10 million. That's nice. Could I have it if you're not going to use it? I'll do so. I'll do it.
I'm in deep with the sharks. I need to get out. I made a very bad few calls. Yeah, and like the whole thing that I found quite strange about this episode is I guess if you're a millionaire, you do get sent shit all the time for free. So that I kind of understood that, but he sees this videotape, Alfred, and he's like, shall we just stick it on? And it starts with 2 girls at the beginning in front of like a green screen, and 9 times out of 10, that's going to be porn. You know what I mean? Like,
eternal youth, you say? Yeah. Eternal, barely 18. It says on the front. Forever 21. And then Maggie comes in. What are you watching? Oh, this doesn't seem like something I would be interested in. You boys.
Where Where's the man? It's just two girls.
It's that kind of tape, Alfred? Put it on the biggest TV we have. I'm going to keep pumping iron while I watch this. Look at myself in the mirror.
Alfred even says, like, oh my, they speak in unison. And then 10 minutes later, he's like, they also do other things in unison too, Master Bruce. You see what they're doing? So what do you think of Maggie? What do you think of the character?
Well, me asking like, oh, why did she never come back? Or like, was there any plans for her or anything like that? I can't think of a time where I'm like, man, this other episode would have been so much better if Alfred's girlfriend was here or whatever. Yeah. But because there's not really any other, like, there's a couple episodes where we get, like The Lion and the Unicorn that you guest appeared on. Wait,
like sorry, I bleeped that all out. Sorry, what happened there?
Yeah, what are you talking about? Yeah. They're Alfred centric episodes or whatever, but she would have been distracting in that, she's necessary here to be a helpful aid to, like, why would only Alfred go to this thing instead? Someone needs to drag him there or whatever to put him in that situation. Yeah,
because there were a lot of couples there. Mm-hmm. So I guess it's like a couples retreat. So it was going to be Alfred and Bruce, but then Maggie cock blocked Bruce.
Right. Well, yeah, I guess I'm sort of surprised Bruce didn't see Lily and Violet on the tape and go like, oh, where is this? I'd love to go immediately. Julie Brown's going to be there, you say?
And then Alfred's like, sorry, Maggie, I can't join you today. Me and Master Bruce are watching porn. It's the good bit.
It's actually more important things to do. Yeah.
The spa looks pretty nice, to be fair. Like countryside, big swimming pool, massage therapist, little green cookies,
Yeah, exactly.
All about those cookies.
The juice that they drink doesn't look very good. It's one of those vegetable. I say this ironically, considering I drink V8 a decent amount, and Brian.
Oh, you don't, do you?
I do, yeah.
Oh, that for any. But, I don't think it's. I think it's only America that they had that disgusting drink. It's basically it's like a fake vegetable blended.
Well, Brian last episode I think called it cold ugly soup, and that's not too far off from it. Yeah.
It looks like that in the episode. Yeah, I always like a Gordon office scene episode. Mm-hmm. Like where we just get a quick Batman Gordon, conversation, a bit of exposition.
A reminder,
yeah, and that's the only time Gordon's in this episode. So I was surprised they.
I can't even think of what that scene is. Like what?
It's so brief. It's like Batman's in the office and they're talking about Mrs. Thomas. And
that's right. Okay, and she also had this tape. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he goes to her like house. And
it's probably going to show up behind me in like 10 seconds, and I'll be
like, probably will. Yeah. And there is a cool shot of Batman with like the torchlight when he's looking in her apartment, which is we do love that Batman thing on the show where it's like just the moment of each episode where Batman just looks the coolest, and I think he looks the coolest when he's watching that videotape and the light of the TV's projecting on his face.
The eternal youth spa, and the music's getting all fuck.
Yeah. It's the same really porn scene from before.
Yeah. I've seen this one. Skip. Are you holding your batarang all by yourself? Come to the Eternal Youth Spa.
No, I just imagine him sitting there like, yeah, I am holding my batarang by myself.
How did you know? Your bat flashlight? Yeah. Yep, see, here's the Gordon scene right behind
here's
me.
The scene, yeah. For everyone listening, you're missing out. So I also, like, when Batman leaves Gordon's office abruptly, Gordon's always shocked by it, and I'm like, first of all, you should be used to this by now, because he does it every single time. In fact, it's going on right behind you, over your shoulder as I'm speaking. But it's also, that's Batman's version of hanging up without saying goodbye. You know what I mean? Like, that's his...
It's what I do to Brian after every podcast. I purposely do not say bye to him. I just hang up. That's not a joke.
So there you go. That's what Batman does. He just does that.
Yeah. And then you got the flashlight scene going.
Yeah. I love seeing Alfred just in that swimming pool. Like, I do like seeing him just straight chilling, and I love how he's got like a little floaty with like snacks, drinks.
Yeah, he's just having a great time. Yeah,
he is. But one thing that I was like, How does that work? Because there's a rotary phone. Because he's on the phone to Bruce. Where the fuck is that plugged in?
It's
Where's that
wired underneath the water? Yeah,
it's just a really long wire that's like running.
No one. he's just so relaxed. Yeah.
I did think I was like, I don't think that's plugged in, bud.
Yeah, well, you talk about Batman and Gordon makes me think of like anytime that he pulls that little disappearing thing, it just makes me think of all the episodes like I Am the Night, or there's a couple ones later where he just talks about how like Gordon, is the same age as my father would be, and like he's my best friend and all this stuff. I'm also an asshole to him all the time, and I just leave the room before we're done talking. And I also always wonder if, because Gordon is always like, he tells Batman what he needs to know, Batman off screen is leaving while Gordon is giving one last little line. Does Batman hear that line? Because sometimes it has more crucial information that he needs.
Yeah.
Or does he just go like, I'm sorry, what was that? Did you have something else? No? Okay. Look over there again, please.
I swear you said something important, but I was already on my way out the door.
Also, I figured out it's the Joker. Ah, shit, he's gone. Well, I hope he figures it out. Yeah.
He's swinging like, I think he just said the Joker.
The Batcave has all sorts of stuff in the ceiling that we don't see except like one time each, like that big claw hand that comes down in Heart of Steel. So maybe he's got like ultraviolet lights up there or something that can light the plants.
Speaking of the ceiling, he's got hanging plants hanging from the cave ceiling, and that's like 50 feet up.
He climbed the penny and just threw it out as hard as he could. There's a bunch of also shattered potted plants all over the. Yeah. Oh, that was the first 40 times I tried to. I finally got the hang of it, Master Bruce.
It's all in the wrist.
Yeah. I saw you practicing with your batarangs, and I thought, why not try it with some azaleas?
Oh, there's no sunlight up there. Fuck, they're gonna die.
I also punched a bunch of holes in the ceiling. Those were structural stalactites. It starts crumbling.
It's no wonder he faints later on as well, because he's been decorating the Batcave for fucking 10 hours. He's been
sweaty. Yeah. He's in his tuxedo still. Yeah. How many of those do you think he has? Do you think he has like a Hey Arnold style closet of like all his same outfit in a row? Oh, today I think I'll put on tuxedo 17C. It's all the same one as all the rest of them. He has his own like Batcave costume rack memorial. It's just a bunch of tuxedos in a row.
And they're the exact same. There's no difference.
Yeah.
It's just like, that one's for scuba diving, that one's for jumping out of an airplane.
They're the same thing. This one is for when I have to get in the Batwing and go, whoa! Yeah.
So we got Batman doing some experiments in the cave, and he refers to blood as human plasma.
Plasma,
I thought that was interesting. That must be a censorship thing.
I would assume so, yeah. Like,
because they did that
say blood. Yeah.
In Spider-Man the Animated Series with Morbius, where
right.
Yeah, it says human plasma. But speaking of Spider-Man the Animated Series, I thought the Batman scream for Alfred was very similar to Spider-Man's Shocker! Oh, yeah. It was very similar.
I think better, but yeah.
Better, yeah. Conroy will always, in my opinion, do it better than Spider-Man. But yeah, I got those vibes when he was like, Alfred!
Yeah. It's funny, the Justice League finale, Star-Crossed, they're coming out of the Batcave, all the Justice League members, they're all in their costumes, and they're walking down that same landing on the Wayne Manor stairs that he shouts that from, when Alfred's like sweeping glass, mind the glass, sir, and they're all walking past him. And I always just like expect Batman, Alfred, right there. Oh, yes, sir, I'm right here. I'm sweeping glass. Oh, sorry, just a habit of mine. Whenever I'm on these stairs, I'm gonna scream your name.
To scream your name. It's like a stage at a Broadway show where he's like, Alfred.
It's part of that whole tiny furniture in a giant room thing. He just has to fill the space with his own voice. He needs something.
It really is like
empty.
It's so big, and there's just a tiny little like few sofas and a TV in the middle of it.
That's the same way that the phone is plugged in the pool is the way that those TVs are plugged in that room. Just in a 20,000 foot extension cord going to the wall over there.
And like most of the bedrooms are just a big room with a bed in the middle of the room. I'm like, what the fuck is with the design in this house where everything has to be in the middle of the room? I don't understand.
Tiny bed in the bedroom.
So we get the return of the Bat glider, as we spoke to Kevin about, and as I said, he probably just leaves it lying around wherever he lands because he can't be bothered to drag it up to a rooftop and jump off it again. But what I found really funny was when he like drops the glider, he then takes out a batarang and he carves the biggest hole in the glass. And I was thinking, of all the things to do, Batman, check to see if the door's open first. Pick the lock.
Pans over, it's 2 feet away. Oh, what? I could have just walked in.
Yeah, but he cuts this like bat-sized hole in the glass, and then he just like removes it so delicately, and it's a huge pane of glass. And I'm like, as you would say in your show, that's not how that works.
No. Well, something I'm also thinking of now that we're talking about that scene is like, I'm showing my hand here at the fact that I've already said I've seen this episode so many times, but do they say, does Batman give a reason why he himself is there? Because like Poison Ivy obviously invited Bruce Wayne to come to this thing, and he instead sent his butler and butler's girlfriend, and she's annoyed by that, but she's like, whatever, I'll still get Bruce Wayne sort of tangentially by fucking over these people. But then Batman shows up to save, he doesn't go specifically like, oh, my butler Alfred is here for me to save. But why does Poison Ivy think he's there? Like, how does she know? How does he justify that he showed up? How does he know?
What are you doing here, Batman? I'm here to save my butt. My butt. I'm just here to save my butt.
What?
Have you seen my butt lately? I've been working out.
At Wayne no.
Do over.
Let me come back in. Hang on. Can we start over?
Yeah, I guess.
I guess it's just assumed that Poison Ivy will assume that Batman will eventually catch on and show up or something. But she's ready for him. I don't know.
He did see the video in Mrs. Thomas's house.
Yeah, all right. Yeah.
So if there was some sort of link where Poison Ivy really wanted to trace it back, she'd be like, "Oh, so he went to Gordon and then he went to Mrs. Thomas's
else's house that had
anybody
this tape.
else, I guess." But yeah, it is a bit of a stretch. So Poison Ivy does this emoji hand when talking about a toxin, like it's almost like Chef's Kiss. It's kind of like, oh, this is the best shit you'll ever find, Batman. Like, it's so fucking good. Wait till you try these cookies. Holy shit. Yeah.
These are the best cookies I've ever had. I drank the green juice and
hang on. If we're making these cookies, we should probably put some THC in those motherfuckers.
It only makes sense. Yeah.
Because it makes you feel good.
Turns you into a tree. That's just how it goes.
Yeah, there you go. That makes sense. It also seems annoying that she puts the curtain pull string all the way at the top of a tree.
God, yeah.
Why just have that down below on the ground? She like does this awkward like, I'm going off screen now, and then she's like climbing a tree, and then she's like, I'm up here now, Batman, and look at my like rogues, my what'd she call it? Like
I had to come up here so I could pull this string from the tree. Yeah.
Her grove of rogues, that's what she calls it. Yeah.
Yeah. She has that moment also where she jumps out of the tree and lands very gracefully, but it's a really long jump. And I always think like, does that have something to do with her like changed body chemistry from experimenting on herself and all this sort of stuff? Is like she should just break her ankles as soon as she lands on the ground.
Like tree bark, just like oh my god, I've broken both of my knees. Batman, I need help.
It makes the same wood cracking sound effect as the tree people. Oh, was that? Nope, those were my legs.
Batman, I'm not even kidding. I'm not even mad at you anymore, bro. I need help.
I'll give you the antidote. I don't even care. Please help me.
I've broken both of my legs.
Well, this was way easier than I expected. Lily and Violet are like, should we still? No, don't. Ow, Jesus Christ, ow.
For the love of God, shoot me with it. I'm in so much pain.
I need to be wrapped as a tree. It'll really help as a splint here.
Oh man. So yeah, how do you feel about the whole, like I told Kevin, that messed me up as a kid, the knowing it's going to take them months, the transformation. What do you think about the tree people?
I thought it was funny when you said that, because I think when Brian and I watched this episode, we had an opposite commentary on her line of saying that I think I am in agreement in that as a kid it definitely felt like oh my God, yeah, to be trapped inside there, that's so horrifying. You know, are they able to breathe? What's going on? Are they all that stuff. But then also just like from a surface level, that line is telling you, don't worry about it. Batman can still save these people. Like, they're not permanently trees yet. Like, she still has a way to go before they're permanently trees. So it's almost like I'm back and forth now on whether or not I like that line, because yeah, it's scary, but it's also like, it's gonna be fine. He's gonna fix it.
Well, yeah, I mean, Alfred's not gonna be a tree forever, is he?
Well,
That'd be pretty fucked
but
up.
I want you to think that he's gonna, but I don't know.
I see. Well, and then at the end, Batman's like, "Good thing I found that cure," and
yeah,
made sure everyone was okay.
It's a little bit more Deus Ex Machina of like, oh, the antidote, even though they were permanently trees, it actually puts them back, or whatever. But it's still more like, holy shit, Alfred's gonna be a tree forever, like for real. I don't think that's a good thing.
He just puts him in like random places in Wayman to scare Dick Grayson. You know those videos online where people like just pop out of nowhere and scare people? He's just moving Alfred as a tree in different spots of the house, and Dick's like, Jesus Christ!
He's the new pottery. Yeah. And the guest room really needed some color, so I put Alfred in there. Yeah. Even in Batman Beyond, he's still got Alfred in the back of the room. Well, those little cookies he used to make, they were crumpets. He's in the room. He can still hear you. He's alive inside the tree.
Somebody please help me.
Whoa! I'm in a tree.
I haven't seen daylight in over 20 years.
I've been breathing the same carbon dioxide over and over. I'm pretty loopy in here after 40 years. Yeah.
Well, what I found really funny to think about is when Batman beats Poison Ivy at the end.
Yeah.
He's obviously, and like we cut to the hospital and Alfred's fine and everybody's fine. What did he do with all the tree people? Like, did he have to like get a van and put them all in the back?
Bulldozer in there, scooping them out. Yeah,
because all he's got is his glider. Like, he's not going to be able to do shit with that.
Yeah,
so
off-screen Batman showed up to Gotham General with 50 tree people, and they went, "What the fuck do you expect us to do with this?"
Look, I find him, you cure him. I'm out.
We can save maybe 2. Okay, go with these 2. I like these 2. The rest never got cured.
I was wondering if it was like cracking a pistachio shell, trying to get them out. Like, did he?
Right,
you know what I mean? Like, did he have a little hammer and chisel, and he was just like trying to get them out? He spent like 3 days trying to get them out of there.
Yeah, just peeling them out. Yeah, God.
And it is funny how Alfred's mustache even has like a little like tree bark.
I was thinking that too. Yeah, he's got like a twig mustache on there.
Yeah. That's a nice touch.
Is this Alfred? Oh yeah, he's got mustache wood. It's totally Alfred.
Well, you know what, man? That's how Batman beats Poison Ivy, with big, large, growing wood. He just like,
yes, he does.
He's like, I'm thinking about that porn from earlier.
My go-to is always that Poison Ivy shatters the glass ceiling in this episode. So, really
yeah, with my wood.
Yes, with the big wood.
With the big wood.
Yeah.
I
it was
mean,
an accident too. He
if
didn't even mean for it to happen.
If I did subtitles, I think that's the subtitle of this episode. Yes. Batman's Big Wood. Batman almost gets shot with arrows like so many times in this episode, and he even does this little like peekaboo up over the plants at one point, which I thought was a really funny shot, just to see him like poking his head out like his Poison Ivy around, and he goes back to hiding. I thought it was very Bugs Bunny of him to do that.
His little glove scallops getting like tacked to the tree.
Yeah.
He's like, wow, she has really good aim, except for when she has Stormtrooper aim the rest of the time that she's trying to shoot him. But
she can't kill him, but she can hit the tiniest little targets on his body. Yeah. She also says that she's an eco terrorist and not, but didn't pronounce it as eco. And I thought it was like,
yeah, I mean, I think that's just kind of probably one of those, like, I've always taken that as like a transatlantic Batman the Animated Series pronunciation of things, like everyone's got kind of gangster talk or whatever, but I've always thought that was a little weird.
Alfred made me chuckle with the pun Jonah Bark. I thought that it was a really bad dad joke, but it made me laugh. I was like, that's funny, Alfred.
I meant to mention when Kevin was on, but like I mean, I can do it later, but Alfred is always, he's always got that smart ass like attitude to him, and I've always enjoyed it, but it was really fun when Mask of the Phantasm was in theaters, and I think it was like 2017 or 2018 or something, and I took my parents to go see it because they'd seen it on in the background a handful of times when I was a kid, but they'd never like just watched it and whatever. I'm like, this is a really good just movie objectively, and you need to see this. So, but it was really fun because, a theater full of people watching Mask of the Phantasm, and anytime by the way, I pressed your tights and put away your exploding gas balls, and everyone just starts laughing, and I'm like, hell yeah, Alfred's funny, dude.
You feel vindicated. You're like, this is a funny fucking character. Yeah.
Anytime he says something like that, it was just nice to be like, okay, yeah, like you're not, you never get to watch these things with other people, like a group of people. Yeah.
No, I love that. You're right. Like, he's got some great lines in this. And obviously the classic one from Phantasm where it's like, I've diapered your bottom. I blew out.
Exactly.
It's good stuff. But I did think it was funny. Like, Bruce comes in with the plant and obviously they're all uncomfortable. And I thought, I mean, I'm sure he's trying to act like an idiot billionaire still because Maggie's there. But I don't think they ever suspected him of being Batman, or she ever suspected him of being Batman. So I was wondering why he, like, purposely was, like, was he just being a dick to Alfred, where he's like, what's the worst thing I could bring to the hospital right now? A fucking plant.
Right, yeah. I mean, I guess he's either playing, bumbling Clark Kent Bruce Wayne, where for Maggie's sake, where he's like, of course I would be stupid and do this, but if he's not doing that, then why is he like, he's knowingly just being an asshole and walking in with, please, the plants, and like, totally an accident, whoopsie, and like winks at Alfred. Totally, I'm not Batman, I didn't say you.
He winks at Alfred, and then he's like, guess what, when you get home, motherfucker, there's about 50 of those in the Batcave that you're gonna have to clean up.
It's not my job.
It's a mess.
There's a bunch that like broke when you fell over, and
bats shitting all over the place.
You taught me how to drive and fly a plane and throw things, but you never told me how to clean, because you've just always done that. So I need you to get rid of these planes.
In fact, you're fine, right? Let's get you out of here. All right, let's go.
Yeah, come on, get up. You're okay.
All right, so that's the end of the episode. Usually on this podcast, we do a top 3 of our top 3 favorite episodes and just substituting ones for the others. So I know you kind of do a similar thing. You guys do a top 10, don't you?
We do, yeah.
That's a lot of episodes. We ain't got that type of time.
When there's 86 Batman episodes, then you get
we're more, I guess, like brutal with that. We're like, does it make the top 3? No, then it's shit. I don't even want to talk about it.
We did a live stream to celebrate our 5th anniversary. We did a big 24-hour live stream a few years ago. That was. I know it was painful after a while, but it turned out really well. But we did a top 5 DCAU episodes out of 6 shows, so we had to like pick so meticulously, and that was very tough. Yeah. I wasn't technically a part of that. I was just viewing it from the outside as the
What
controller of the live stream.
What were the episodes?
I'm pretty sure Over the Edge from New Batman Adventures made the cut.
Yep.
Static in Africa was one of them. I don't think a single Zeta Project episode made the list.
Surprise.
I think Late Mr. Kent or Legacy was the Superman pick. And then I want to say either On Leather Wings or Heart of Ice were the BTAS pick, but I'd really have to watch it again.
No Justice League, huh?
No, there was something. There was something for everything except Zeta Project, I'm pretty sure. But yeah.
That's understandable. Yeah. Well, we do a top three. Our top three right now, in no particular order, are On Leather Wings, Two-Face Part 1, and Joker's Favor are our two top three favorites. We also have to do it where we agree. Like our top three is shared. So it's not like
I get to usurp Will. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I almost his name's not Will, it's Rob, obviously. You get to usurp Will's picks then, is what you're saying.
You can have your own little your own little category, and Eternal Youth is one of your top three currently.
Okay, I see how this is working. Yeah.
And then you'll come back for a second time and a third time, and then if you come back for more than that, then you have to decide if you're going to replace your...
I was going to say, I have technically my top 10 BTS episodes right here that I could just tell you, but no, this works better. Yeah.